Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am Derek Thomas, one half of your Black College Experience team here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we have in Atlanta, Georgia, the founder of Black College Experience, Keisha Kelly. What's going on, Kels?
Kels is a little broken down because her New Orleans Saints will not be marching into Atlanta. But she is good on the flip side because we are interviewing Robert Mathis tonight. So we put the game face on. We win, we lose one, and we know we got cheated. We know we got robbed, but we know we had a great season. So, if Atlanta fans, Ram fans, and everybody else is saying that we got cheated, then I know within our heart, we know we got cheated. And I'm just like, okay, we got cheated at home, but it is what it is. We're moving on, and again, we're just excited about tonight.
Right. I mean, there is no choice. You got cheated over and over again. I'm just hoping that we don't have a repeat experience of that in Arrowhead. Right now, my Chiefs are down to the Patriots, and I'm not happy about that. So wouldn't it be just the saddest thing that both of our teams didn't end up going to the Super Bowl? I think that would be a sad Sunday night for Black College Experience, aside from interviewing Robert Mathis, which would be a great thing. That would definitely cheer my spirits up a little bit.
Absolutely. Again, we're having Robert Mathis on tonight, so that'll bring some cheer to my heart.
Yes,
it is. When I introduce him, I'll let everybody know, but it's a funny story as to how I know him and how we actually got him on. So where do you want to start tonight?
Well, first I want to say greetings to my line brother Patrick Perry, on with us again. He's our faithful listener, calling in every week. What's going on, LB?
Nothing much. I mean, I'm hearing y'all talking about how the Saints. I saw how they got eliminated.
Right.
But at least I'm happy that Mississippi and HBCU represented in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Kadara Hodge for the Rams. He's a Prairie View alum, and he's also from D-Lo, Mississippi. So, we will have him representing our home state of Mississippi, and also for HBCU. So, congratulations to Kadara as a rookie going to the Super Bowl. So, congrats to you. And hopefully we can get him on Black College Experience to talk about this experience, and as he progresses in his NFL career. He does a lot for his community also. He's always giving back. I follow him on social media, and he just gave a party to his local town. And it's always good when you give back. And he's giving back before he even gets the big payday. So he's starting early. So kudos to you, Kadara Hodge, and good luck to you in the Super Bowl. But before we get Robert Mathis on, I just want to talk about some notes in basketball. We're going to start off in the GCAC first because in 8 days, these two teams will be playing each other. Tougaloo College is still undefeated in the GCAC. And also, Dillon University is also undefeated in GCAC. And on January 28th, those two teams will meet. So after that game, there's going to be one team is going to be the sole number one in the GCAC. Will it be the Tougaloo Bulldogs or Dillon University? So congratulations to those two HBCUs for having an outstanding start on the basketball court in the GCAC and also in the SEAC. Morehouse Kills up to rank number 3 in the NAIA ranking. I'm sorry, not NAIA. NAIA rankings. Not NAIA. I'm sorry, Division 2. NABC rankings. Morehouse doing the big on the hardwood. Changing coaches. They're not stopping, Kel. What do you think about that since you're in the area?
I think that they're moving in a progressive manner, and I think, again, like I said last week, I think they're on an upward move, and I think they're heading back to the same place as they were last year, and it looks like they might be even better, and they're beating the opponents out. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what Morehouse does this year as they get closer and closer. Of course, Clark is their biggest opponent, so it's going to be interesting to see where they end this year.
Yes, indeed. And now we're going to just, until Mr. Mathis calls in. We're just going to roll along with the show as normal. Some football housekeeping news in the SWAC, though. Coach Ely Hill, Hill Ely for Alabama State has added some new coaches to his staff. He adds Gary Harrell and Joe Blackwell to the Alabama State coaching staff. Those two gentlemen, have extensive coaching experience. Joe Blackwell will be the offensive coordinator, and Gary Harrell will be the running backs coach. He served 2 years under Lane Kiffin at Florida Atlantic. Joe Blackwell spent the last 2 seasons at a pair of high schools, and he also has experience at South Carolina State. So Coach Ely Hill trying to get that Alabama State program back on track in his second full year as the head coach of that program, and also in the MEAC for football, while we're on football, your former defensive coordinator, Trey Oliver, has been added to his staff as well. He adds 5 new members to his coaching staff. And let's get those names. That is, Ware spent 8 seasons at Bowie State. Trey Oliver, he's a NCCU alum, and in his first year leaving Southern, he's going to look to rebuild his alma mater, get him back on track. So we can't wait to see how he does in his first year at his alma mater. Also, he hired Brian Jenkins away as a special teams coordinator and running backs coach. Now that made some waves, Kales, because he hired him away from Alabama. He was at Alabama A&M or Alabama State. I can't remember which one he was on.
A&M.
A&M. Well, he was the former head coach at Alabama State, though. He was a former head coach at Alabama State. So, a coach who knows the SWAC very well, will definitely aid Oliver in building that NCCU Eagles program. So we wish these coaches success as they, try to get back on track to dethrone North Carolina A&T in the MEAC. Now, scores in the SWAC in basketball. Before we talk about scores, on tomorrow, Kills, we will have a nationally televised game in the SWAC, and that will be Jackson State versus Texas Southern on ESPNU at 6 p.m. The Jackson State Tigers will play the Texas Southern Tigers. When we get exposure like this, it's always good for our HBCU programs. It's a good thing that ESPN created ESPNU to showcase schools like this, showcase events like this, because we definitely need the exposure. Before we go over scores in the SWAC, what do you think about the exposure this game will bring in the SWAC? And also Texas Southern, as they, defeated some very tough teams in the season, but that SWAC schedule is not so easy for Texas Southern.
I still think, Texas Southern is one of the most dominant in basketball when it comes to the SWAC. And I still think at the end of the season, they'll prove to be the better team no matter what happens. So I'm still looking forward to see what Texas Southern is going to do because of what they've done in the past.
Yes, indeed. I also, as well, I can't wait to see what they do because, they started out good, but we all know when you get in the SWAC, it's a different story. But these score recaps I have in the men's SWAC. All right. Alabama State defeats Alabama A&M 72-54. Prairie View defeats Jackson State 55-51. Your Jaguars kill in a barn burner defeats Arkansas Pine Bluff 69-67 in overtime. Our Delta Devils take an L to Alcorn PP 63-57, and that vaunted Texas Southern team takes another L in the SWAC West, losing to Grambling. So they've lost to Prairie View, they've lost to Grambling. So, Texas Southern, like we said, defeated some teams that no one thought they would beat. But when you get in the SWAC when you get in conference play, it's a whole other ball game, and the Tigers are getting a lesson of that by losing to Grambling State and also losing to Prairie View. What do you think Texas Southern will have to do to get back on track, Kels, against Jackson State? Kels?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I asked you, what do you think Texas Southern going to have to do to get back on track against Jackson State?
Well, I think they'll definitely do what they need to do. I think they'll beat Jackson State. I've watched a couple of Jackson State games, but I don't think it's really a threat. Again, I think that they're going to dominate in the SWAC like they did last year.
PP, you think Jackson State has a chance on national TV to send Texas Southern with another SWAC loss?
I don't know. Like I said last week, I think anything is possible in the SWAC. I mean, I figured they'll probably win at least 12, 13 games in the SWAC, but everybody's familiar with them as far as, everybody knows everybody in the SWAC, so anything is possible, especially on live TV. So.
Yes, indeed. And then the SWAC Player of the Week is from Texas Southern, and it is Texas Southern University forward Jeremy Combs. He has been named the Southwestern Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Player of the Week following an exceptional effort against Prairie View. He had 23 points and 20 rebounds. I mean, that is an awesome game, and a pair of assists and 1 block and 1 steal. But Texas Southern failed to Prairie View. It represents a season high for the graduate transfer in the 3 games prior to this one. He had career combined 18 rebounds. Other notable performances are Prairie View's Gary Blackson, Mississippi Valley State's Gregory Jones, Alabama State's Reginald G., and Alabama A&M's Andre Kennedy. And now we're going to jump over to the women's. But before we talk about the women's, PP, there was a coaching change for Arkansas Pine Bluff. It's a name that we know very well. Nate Kilbert, former Mississippi Valley State women's coach, was relieved of his duties at UAPB. PP, I mean, you're local. You got a chance to see Coach Kilbert as he coached at Valley. What do you think about Arkansas Pine Bluff letting him go?
I guess, what is it? I heard. Yeah, I mean, what I've heard. I guess when the new AD at UAPB came in, they've been down for a while as far as the women's concerned. So I guess he just want to get his guy in there, and their bad start that they're off to now just gave them the ammunition to make the move now and get ahead of the curve.
All right. Well, we just have a thing, and I see there's an Indianapolis, Indiana number, so that means that is our guest. Kels, go ahead and introduce our guest for this evening. We can jump right into the interview.
All right. So there it is. Yeah, it's so funny how I actually went about getting Robert to actually come on to the show. And when he actually agreed to it, I was actually shocked, but I was more happy when I seen the response. I would love to. So I'm not going to prolong that because I know his time is just as precious as mine, or as ours. But we do have Alabama A&M alumnus and former coach player Robert Mathis.
How you doing, Mr. Mathis? Mr. Mathis?
Did we get him?
Well, he's there. I see him on the line. But maybe he put the phone down. But Mr. Mathis, are you there?
I think he's sending messages to Twitter. Hold on, let me see.
Okay, go ahead and send him a message. All right, but while we're waiting to get Mr. Mathis on the line, I'm just going to run down these women's basketball scores right quick. All right. All right, in the SWAC, Alabama State defeats Alabama A&M 60-46. Prairie View blows out Jackson State 76-57. Southern blows out UAPB 73-41. Alcorn defeats our Little Devilettes 73-63. Grambling State sends Texas Southern with a loss. And the SWAC Women's Player of the Week is none other than Shakala Hill. She had another triple double early in the week, but she weekly averages of 17.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks, while shooting 50% from the floor and 71% from the foul line. This young lady is a beast of a player, and I can't wait to see how she takes this Grambling women's basketball team in the SWAC play. I mean, I can't remember when we've ever had a SWAC player drafted in the WNBA. I follow the WNBA, but I can't remember we've ever had a player drafted. If we have one this year, Shakala Hill could be that one because she's a very, very versatile player. She can shoot it. She can play defense. She can run the offense. She can rebound. I mean, to have someone like her with her skill level and her ability to score and also facilitate for other players, I mean, she's an all-around player. So, maybe she could end that drought of SWAC players getting drafted in the WNBA. If she doesn't go to the WNBA, I know she has a future overseas. So, Kels, you ever got a response from Mr. Mathis yet?
I'm trying. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm trying.
Okay. All right. We're just gonna go on down the line until we get Mr. Mathis on. Bowling has started in the SWAC. I have some bowling news. And the first leg of league play is set for this past weekend, January 8th through the 20th. Final 2018 SWAC bowling standings were Alabama State 18-6, Texas Southern 18-6, Prairie View 17-7. Jackson State 16-8, Southern 11-13, Alabama A&M 2-22, and Grambling 2-22. So Southern enters to 2019 as a dark horse contender, while Alabama A&M and Grambling look to make moves up the ladder within the conference. So last year doesn't mean anything, but when you have when you have bowlers returning, that can help Alabama State continue their dominance. Okay, we just lost Kels. Mr. Mathis, are you there? I see him just sending a message. Let me see if I can get him on. Let's see, give me just a second. I got a message from Mr. Mathis. We're gonna go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Black College Experience.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
And trying to get Robert Mathis on the line. I have he just inboxed me. Someone said if I can call him, because someone is on the line from Indianapolis, but it's not letting me make calls. Kels?
That's me, yes.
Okay, he just messaged for us to call him, but
yeah, I saw that. I see that.
But I can't.
Let me have the number again. It's 713.
719 373 6861.
Okay.
And the PIN number is 49170.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, we're just having some technical difficulties getting Mr. Mathis on the line. And Kale's going to get this fixed up with us.
All right, we'll be rolling in a minute. Y'all know how we do.
Yes, indeed. Well, yeah, it doesn't let me make calls. Um, I wish I could. I would definitely give him a call, but it doesn't let me make calls. Because there is an Indianapolis in it, a number on, so I thought that was him, but it looks like it's not.
Okay, I guess we'll see what happens in a minute. In a second, shortly, I hope.
Yes, indeed. But just moving right along till we get Mr.
Okay.
Mathis on the line. All right. Now, we had some good news come across timelines that created a lot of excitement in the SWAC. Not the SWAC, in the MEAC. Because we all know our HBCU national champion, North Carolina A&T. They defeated Alcorn in the Celebration Bowl. But we also know the FCS national champion, the North Dakota State Bison, won another national championship. And, they lost their head coach, but they're going to return a lot of good players. These two championship caliber programs will play each other in 2020. All I want to see is both teams be able to play at a high level. We need North Carolina A&T to continue to be dominant because they did beat East Carolina and Jacksonville State. I wish they could have played against North Dakota State this year because we know this North Carolina A&T team had the talent to compete with and possibly beat North Dakota State this year because anytime you beat a team from the FBS, even though East Carolina was not that good, anytime you beat a team like Jacksonville State, a team that has always loaded with FBS transfers, this would have been a fun year to see North Carolina A&T play against North Dakota State. PP, what do you think about this matchup in 2020 with the Aggies going up against the Bison?
In honesty, I think it's going to be beneficial to A&T in 2020 because they're going to be breaking in a new quarterback, and North Dakota State, they got a Easton Stick. He's going to be in the NFL after he graduates next year. So it'll be a good matchup. There won't be any excuses as far as, well, we lost our quarterback or whatever. A&T will have a whole year to break in their quarterback, and North Dakota State will have already got their quarterback in the meeting. He's played in a few games. I've watched a few of their games this year, so there won't be any
beat up on our Delta Devils this year. So that wasn't fun to watch. But I think it's a good thing because when you have a team like North Carolina A&T, they're right now they're the king of the crop when it comes to HBCUs. And when you have the king of the mountain in the FCS like North Dakota State, our best against their best. Even though we're in FCS with them, we don't play in the playoffs. And no one has been as dominant as North Dakota State has been in FCS. I'm wondering how North Carolina A&T would have done this year in the playoffs because with them having the talent to beat a bottom feeder FBS squad, and to beat another, top tier FCS squad, I just wonder if North Carolina A&T could have made a dent in the FCS playoff this year. But I'm glad we have a Celebration Bowl. We have a platform of our own. We don't have to share it with anybody. That's also prompted Ivy League schools to try to get in a bowl game themselves with us potentially. But we're happy with the Celebration Bowl. But I am glad to see that North Carolina A&T and North Dakota State will be playing this year. And I think I hear that is Mr. Mathis. Yeah. Mr. Mathis, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Sorry about the mix-up.
It's okay. Technical difficulties always happen. Welcome to the Black College Experience.
I appreciate you having me. Very humbled by you guys having me on the show.
Okay, so we're gonna try this introduction again. We're gonna try this introduction again. I was like, wait, now this just can't be happening. Okay, so once again, this is the funny thing. Okay, so I'm of course I'm Keisha. I'm the woman of the show, and so my status this year was I'm gonna shoot my shot. Black College Experience is shooting their shot. That's exactly what I said, and I didn't expect when I shot my shot. Robert actually posted some statuses, or he posted some stats actually about HBCUs or something with A&M. And when he posted it, that was the open goal for me. That was the open thing for me. So I think I commented on it. I liked it. I said something, and then he liked the comment. And y'all know that was open game for me. I sent an inbox, and I was like, hey, this is what we do. Nothing excited me more than when he said I would be happy to. So here we are, Robert Mathis, Alabama A&M Bulldog, turn Indianapolis Colts, turn, as Derek calls him, the sack master, is here on Black College Experience. Thank you, Robert Mathis, for joining us, and I'm not going to prolong it. We want to hear about Robert Mathis and his time at Alabama A&M turn Indianapolis. All right. So, Robert, I stay here because I remember when you were at Alabama A&M. I remember when you were on crutches. I remember you playing for A&M. Yeah. Exactly. I remember when you were on crutches. I remember when you came to my church. I remember when you pledged and crossed. I remember all of that. That was a long time ago, y'all. I remember all of that. That was a long time ago, but I do remember. But take us back to your time playing at Alabama A&M. And I think, were you under Coach Jones?
Yeah, that was my senior year, but my first three, it was Coach Ron Cooper.
Okay, Coach Cooper was first. Okay, so take us back to your time and playing at Alabama A&M. I know I dated you back real far, but I remember all of that. Take us back to your time of playing at Alabama A&M.
Well, first of all, looking back, I wouldn't change my path for anything in the world. And it's true enough, the Black College Experience, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it on the planet. A lot of people, they talk about it, and just to be able to go and just have success and just be in a position to, encourage others, the youth, to take the leap. It's a college. College is what you make there. So it was my time there. It was a blessing, and I enjoyed every piece of it.
Okay, so we know that right now, when you talk about the HBCUs and you talk about the PWIs and you talk about the power schools, we know football is football, and we know that we don't get the exposure that we need. We don't get the exposure that we do, and we know a lot of great things come out of HBCUs. And we can look at, for instance, Darius Leonard. He's a prime example of somebody that came out of HBCU, and we see what he's done with the Colts. Talk about the importance of HBCUs and what it done for you, and how important it is for us to continue to tell that story to our athletes and to other people, so they will continue to go to our schools.
Well, absolutely. Just as you said, it's a subject near and dear to me because, like I said, I attended, and just being just being able to play in the NFL. Just hear the stories of all the guys that went to the big mighty UGAs and Miamis and Ohio States. It's just like, well, we didn't have any of that, but we sure had the experience. They were jealous of the whole overall experience, and to some extent, we were just jealous of the amenities that those guys had. But it was just to be able to encourage people to, like the young fellows, take the lead. Go. You can go. College is what you make of it. The football team is what you make of it, because you make your team. The team does not make you. So imagine if all these players, in which we are the majority of most football teams, if they went to black colleges, that team would be a national powerhouse. So it doesn't matter where you go. It's the player makes the school. The school does not make the player.
Absolutely. And so now, in that time frame that you were there, in the time, do you have like any other offers any other scholarships, or was Alabama A&M the only choice, and that was at the first choice?
Oh, I dare say mine was simple. It was very, very simple because I only had one offer. Man, that was Alabama A&M.
Wow.
So it was a very interesting story. Coach Ron Cooper, so I'm forever indebted to him. He made me an offer because of our plays, and I was an offensive line. severely undersized guy in high school, but it was offensive. It was a hustle play on offense that gave him, that gave me the offer actually. And so it was actually the very last offer of that particular year, 1999, and it was only because the guy that they really wanted turned them down on National Signing Day. So they just so happened to have one extra scholarship left, and by God, I took it.
Well,
okay, so
I
before
want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said you played on the offensive line.
Yeah, there was the old school Iron Man football. So
well, I'm pretty sure you didn't give up any
guard.
sacks with the feet that you got. I'm pretty sure it was hard for people to get around you.
Well, back in 1998, 99, it was a little different than it was in the 2000s, but I was good for holding and cutting, and that was about it. That was about it. But our defense, I kind of did my thing because that's what I loved.
So before I turn this over to Derek, the last thing I'll say before I turn this over to Derek, I have this saying that I came up with years ago, and I've stayed true to it. If they want you, they will find you. It's something that I live by. And it actually came from when you actually went pro. When you went pro, that was where I first started saying that. If they want you, they will find you. And it came from Robert Mathis because you were the first person that I actually could look at and I was like, okay, like he's really doing his thing. But that's a saying that I'm going to go ahead and brand and say it came from Robert Mathis. If they want you, they will find you. And they found you. And even over here in Normal, Alabama, they found you.
Yeah, I mean, it does not matter where you go. If you are a football player, trust me, they will find you.
Correct.
They would go in a cave and they would go to Australia, and there are stories of guys that they've found, guys that never played basketball.
Yeah, that guy that the Eagles drafted last year, I'm still hot about that. The big guy, the big rugby player.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The rugby player that the Eagles drafted last year that has never played football in his life, being drafted over guys who've been playing football all of their lives.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of especially at the tight end position because Tony Gonzalez he was a trendsetter. Antonio Gates, and he's a small college guy, but not HBC. But these guys, man. Shannon Sharp, perfect example. Savannah State, they found him, So it doesn't matter. So they'll find you, man. If you are passionate and if you want, this is what you want to do, they'll find you. They'll find you. So just chase your dream.
Yes, indeed. Now, I have some questions I want to ask, but first off, I have to get this in. When Kels first told me you were coming on, I said, oh yes, I'm going to have to make fun. Because in 2013, you and your Indianapolis coach broke my heart. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Oh, man.
And we were I'm rooting for them
right now.
Son?
Yeah. I'm rooting for them right now.
Yeah, so. We were beating y'all like a drum, and then all of a sudden, Andrew Luck starts getting lucky. You had a sack that game, and we end up losing to you all. And now this year, perfect setup, revenge, and we end up beating you. So I have to meddle with you. We got our revenge on them Colts, and now we're trying to send Brady and Belichick home crying.
Well, I tell you, I'm rooting for you.
But first question I have for you is, with you being an HBCU trailblazer, doing your thing at Alabama A&M, you had, I think, 38 career sacks. 20 sacks in your senior year, 9 sacks your junior year, and 13 sacks as a sophomore. And then going into the NFL, breaking Dwight Freeney's record. I used to call you Dwight Freeney Jr. That was my nickname for you.
Oh, no, dude. Don't call me that.
Well, I'm just saying.
But, yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
In most teams back then, you had to worry about one side. Against the Colts,
right,
you had both of you. Dwight Freeney was a speed rusher. You were a speed rusher.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, wow, you can't just worry about one of these guys. If you block Freeney, Mathis going to get you. And I think you finished with 123.5 sacks, 47 sack forced fumbles, which is a league record. Now, with you doing all of that, being from an HBCU, now you're on a coaching staff that has 2 HBCU players on the defense, one on the offense in Chester Rogers. What kind of wisdom have you kind of imparted into Darius Leonard and Grover, and also Chester on the offense, of just being an HBCU graduate and finding success and longevity in the NFL?
Well, I always say, first of all, I tell the players, get it while the getting is good. That means take care of your business, but pursue your dream if they have to come out early before they finish their degree. But go back and finish. I was able to finish in 2010, which I was thankful for. And but after that, it's, and it's, with black people in life, we have to work twice as hard to get half as much, and that applies so much to the football aspect, especially in the pros, because we literally have to be perfect just to stay in the room with the rest of these guys, because they assume because of the level of competition, not D1AA or whatever they call it now. I'm old school, but it's HBC. They just feel like we're just trash, man. And right. It's aggravating considering our history, because HBCUs, we've pumped out the best in the history of this sport, and especially this SWAC. So and I jog memories about Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Michael Strahan, Deacon Jones, John Stallworth. I fill it off to them. But my advice is, look, just do your job and do it better than the next guy, because you have that HBC grind, and the grind is we can outwork anybody. We're known for that in the NFL ranks, and that's what keeps you there.
Right. And talk about the sense of pride you felt watching Darius Leonard just take the NFL by storm on defense. I mean, because that's your forte. You're a defender, even though y'all play defense in 2 different ways. I mean, you've been an HBCU alum and stand out, and what you did in the NFL, and then what this young man was able to do in his first year. And I keep saying this. One publication said he was the worst draft pick that the Colts had. Wrong. He was snubbed.
Man, I'd love to see that one.
Yeah, I tweeted the guy to ask him that he needed to apologize to Leonard, because, Darius Leonard led the league in tackles. He's a defensive rookie of the year going to be. He should have been a Pro Bowl selection. He probably will get in with players not playing. He was an All-Pro as a rookie out of an HBCU.
First team All-Pro, but not Pro Bowl.
All-Pro. Thank you for correcting me.
Right.
First team All-Pro. Above guys who have been in the league for years and came out of Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Georgias. A guy from an HBCU did this. And what I want to key on next, Darius Leonard was in the Senior Bowl last year, and he showed out. He led the Senior Bowl defenders and tackles as well. That should have put people on notice of the type of talent that this young man had. Now, of course, after all the football is over with, championships are won, we have the college football all-star circuit. Now, we know we have our Spirit of America Bowl games and the FCS Bowl where a lot of our HBCU standouts go. But there was only one HBCU player in the 3 major all-star games, in the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, and the NFLPA Bowl. One. And that was Amir Hall out of Bowie State. And then they only let him throw the ball once. He's the quarterback. Now, did you get a chance to play in any all-star games your senior year?
I didn't get any invited to anything, and I had a workout and I had a few scouts there because of my agent that I hired. It was a personal favor to him, and that he got them there. So, like I said, once they get there, you better be clicking out of all cylinders. You have to be flawless. I mean, it's not fair, but but that's life. But you have to be flawless because any type of reason you give them, that's it. They just need a reason for you to write them, for them to write you off. Oh, and trust me, they will as soon as you give it to them.
Exactly. So, but what I want to ask, what do you think is going to what more needs to happen for NFL general managers, talent scouts, individuals that report to the big wigs on these players? What do you think has to happen for them to really take notice? I mean, for someone like you who had a 14-year career, correct?
Right.
Then Anton Bethea is in his 13th year as a safety. You know what I'm saying? You have Tariq Cohen, a Pro Bowl. You know what I'm saying? You have other HBCU alums, and you have Darius Leonard, what he did this year as a rookie. But you have the major All-Star games, one HBCU, no Division I HBCU players at all. The HBCU player that's there is a Division II quarterback, which they probably going to try to get him to play wide receiver. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think needs to be done to just say, okay, these guys can play in our league?
Man, I'll jump out there and say it. Tell those players go to HBCUs, get to the parents, and let them know. They need to know that it is not about the school. It's about the player. If this player knows he has the will, the drive, and all of that good stuff, it doesn't matter where you go. Like the parents, we need to educate our parents more on the importance of HBCs and not just sports. Trust me, and I'll say sports is last on the list because we have to build up, man. We just have to build up. Just the black community, the black, us as general. We have to lead by example, and it starts there. It's not a recruiting tool to get for talent and this, that, and the other, but we just have a bad rep, a bad just label of just, and it's just very aggravating. But just players go to HBCUs and you build it up. You be the reason, not a reason.
I agree with you because several times I saw Caleb Thibodeau, the number 1 ranked player. He flirted with Florida A&M. We saw Mississippi State commitment. Charles Moore mentioned Alcorn, and I tweeted at him. I was like, if you go to Alcorn, I mean, it will be a coup. I mean, you will be one of the highest ranked players to ever commit to Alcorn. So the spotlight will follow you there because of what you did in high school. If you're a highly talented player in high school, choosing to go to an HBCU, the spotlight will come. The spotlight is not going to go away simply because you go to an HBCU. No, you're not going to have the exposure on TV all the time, like you have with Alabama. But if more start coming, that exposure will come as well. You know what I'm saying? Because Alcorn has a history of NFL players. Steve McNair being the most famous.
Yes.
Being the most famous NFL player. Right now, Don Driver. And right now, what's the running back, Kels? That's for the Ravens.
Turner.
Yeah,
Turner.
So and now this year they have a young defensive lineman by the name of Sterling Shippey that has a chance potentially make it in the NFL. When you have a team that has won 5 straight SWAC East titles, there's NFL talent on that team. So with someone like you, leading the way, and then of course the new crop of young players coming in the NFL, I just want to see more of it. We know what the Alabamas and Ohio States have, but all their players don't pan out. I'm pretty sure you probably
they have us and our players. That's what they have.
Right.
So I mean,
okay.
but like now, since you retired, you've been coaching. You've been coaching defensive line and pass rush specialist. Is that something you want to continue doing, coaching and growing your coaching career, potentially maybe coming back to coach at an HBCU?
Yeah, I definitely do not count out my alma mater. I'll just leave that there. But I'm not ready for that for the next couple of years anyway. But anyway, go Bulldogs, and we're gonna take that title off Alcorn's hand because 5 years straight that's just unacceptable. So we need that. But yeah, I love coaching in the aspect of teaching and like advising the young men. And the X's and O's, that's great and all, but they can get that anywhere. There's a lot of great coaches, but there are even more not so great coaches, just downright terrible. Just only looking out for their best interests, not the players. But I just genuinely have love for the players because I know a lot of what they went through, the stuff that their mindsets and what it takes to be what they are, and everything that goes into it, and the sacrifices, and the whole spiel. But I just want to help guide them. Any type of advice that I can give to, like, specifically our guys on the team. Darius, he and I talk a lot, and it's not football related. It's life. It's about how to be a pro, things like that, and how to dodge, potential, bullets and just stuff that'll harm you. And just kind of, give them a heads up because they don't get a lot of that. These guys come from, specifically in Darius's case, a trailer, and he wanted to go to Clemson. They turned him down. They didn't want him, and a year later, he's making them all look bad. Exactly. He's on the same team, another linebacker that we have that came out with him in this last draft class, but a free agent that went to South Carolina. This kid led the nation in interceptions. So as a linebacker, Sky Moore, but he HBC South Carolina State second round pick. Now he's a professional tackles leader and all this stuff. Just his rise to stardom. So he has a lot on his plate now, and I just want to stay in his ear, just saying, look, do the right thing and just be smart. Have fun, you earned it, but be smart. And that's kind of how I look at it as a coach, from a coaching aspect. I played it, so I know a little bit about the X's and O's, but just the advisory aspect.
And then the thing is, you kind of took the same path he took, HBCU to the NFL. So you're a great mentor for him to have. Actually, that's one thing I thought about when they drafted him. I was like, the Colts are always drafting HBCU players.
That's why I love him.
When they took Grover, I was like, he's Division II. I was like, gone with his bad self. Coach Chester was there already.
Georgia boy. Yeah,
So I like. Even though I wanted my team to beat y'all, I see what the Colts are doing, and I would love for them to keep that trend up, drafting HBCU players because it's paying off for them. Chester was a solid wide receiver and punt returner. Grover, a solid rotation defensive lineman, and we already know what the Maniac did. We already know what he did. So the next great defensive end coming out of HBCU land is Dwayne Johnson out of North Carolina A&T.
I heard Alabama A&M got one coming this year, so I might got to keep an eye on this one.
Yes, indeed. Most definitely have them coming out the SWAC. Southern University, Kelsey's alma mater, in a couple of years is going to have one coming out. A young man who had 10.5 sacks as a true freshman. So it's definitely talent at the HBCU level that can play in the NFL. And you prove it. The Maniac proved it. Chester's proving it. Chad Williams is proving it at home. But they is definitely proving it. And the next crop of NFL players, hopefully, even though we didn't have any in this All-Star game, I'm pretty sure we're going to have plenty in camps. Hopefully someone will get drafted to keep carrying the mantle of HBCU players being drafted in the NFL because, it's a legacy thing. Like you mentioned, all the greats.
It's a duty. It is. I don't care if they want it or not. it's their duty. If you come from HBC, you have to carry that torch. And but the guys that's been there, you have to teach them. That's an unwritten rule since way before I was born. Since way back when. You just have to carry the torch, keep it going.
Yes, indeed, man. It's been an honor to have you on. I never thought I would get a chance to pick at an NFL player by my team beating you, but I guess I can mark that off my bucket list. Man, I watched your career, as a youngster growing up, and it's just amazing what you did. What you accomplished, and you are definitely a role model for HBCU players to look up to. It's good that you're coaching, and I just can't wait to see what's next for Robert Mathis in your future as far as football and just continuing to mentor HBCU players. I'm not happy right now because Brady just threw a touchdown pass and we're down 14-0. So we kind of need you to come help our pass rush out. Why don't you come out of retirement and go sign with the Chiefs and go sack Brady a few times for us, please?
Oh man, trust me, you don't want me on that field now, man. Y'all got some dogs, but good luck to the Chiefs, man. I feel like that once they warm up, they'll be okay. But I do not like to pass you, so go do your thing. And appreciate you guys having me on. And I'm all about trying to grow. Just keep the torch burning for the HBCs, SWAC, MEX, CIAA, all of it, man. We're one family, and we just need to keep lifting it up because we don't need to fade out.
Yes, indeed. And anytime you want to call in and talk HBCU sports on Sunday nights, feel free to call in. Definitely will welcome your input and your opinion for someone who has had the career that you have had. And it's just an honor and a privilege to have you on the show, sir.
Oh, yeah. I'm always here to help, so just let me know what I can do and consider it done.
Thank you so much. Kels, you have anything for Mr. Mathis before he leaves?
Thank you so much, Robert, for joining us. Thank you for letting me shoot my shot and accepting the shot. Thank you kindly.
It's all good. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Good night, Mr. Mathis.
Oh, yeah. Before you go, we're going to make sure we get a Black College Experience T-shirt to you as well.
And a button.
Okay.
So you just tell us the color. It can't be purple because purple's too dark. So
I was going to be Indianapolis Coast blue.
I was thinking blue too. Well, honestly, purple is just too dark. For the logo, the purple is too dark. So we're probably thinking blue as well. Blue or white is what we're thinking.
It's probably for a couple, for a Q dog to like blue and white. Because you got two signals. You got two signals on the phone.
Oh man, sorry to hear that, but it's all love though.
Yes,
thank you so much. We'll get back with you and we make sure we get everything squared away so we can get that sent to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Kels, you really, really came through that time. That's why you shoot your shot and you that's not a shot, that's a slam dunk. Kels.
It was. Shoot your shot, make the shot. It was done. Like I said, it was overwhelming when he said, I would love to. And you can see, very humble, very nice person. Very great conversation. Yes,
indeed. Now, we were talking about women's basketball. We were talking about Shakala Hill and how she was the SWAC Women's Player of the Week. We were also talking about, before we came on, UAPB fired Coach Kilbert. They're going to be hiring a new coach, so we're going to see what happens there. Now, to run down basketball in the MEAC. All right. Bethune-Cookman defeats Delaware State 69-49. Coppin State defeats North Carolina Central 64-60. Howard defeats South Carolina State in overtime 71-67. Maryland Eastern Shore edges out FAMU 60-58. Norfolk State defeats Savannah State 82-76. North Carolina A&T defeats Morgan State 57-53. and I have, and I like how the MEAC does their player of the week. They break it up into several categories. I really like that. It gives more than one player a chance to be nominated. Derek Jameson of Norfolk State kept his team undefeated, but he's also the MEAC player of the week. Jamerson had a week highlighted by a pair of career highs as he averaged 19.5 points and 8 rebounds. Also, for Davis, a 6'5 guard. Stanley Davis Jr., a 6'5 guard, is defensive player of the week. And the rookie of the week is MJ Randolph out of FAMU. And Stanley Davis is out of Morgan State. So congratulations to those 3 young men for the honors that they have earned this week. Other top performers were Cottrell Pope out of BCU, DeJuan Clayton out of CSU, Justin Ravenel out of FAMU, RJ Cole out of Howard, Terry Harris out of North Carolina A&T, Abraham Celia out of NCAT, Rashawn Davis out of NCCU, Jordan Butler out of NSU, and Damani Applewhite out of South Carolina State. So let me go ahead and get the women up here. And Kels, I know we talked about this earlier. I can't wait until that January 28th game between Dillard and Tougaloo. I mean, when you have teams like Tougaloo's on it, I think they're on a 10-game winning streak. Coach Billers really has the Bulldogs playing very, very well. And I just can't wait to see. I hope they both are still undefeated in the GCAC on the 28th, just so we can see that game, who is going to be in sole number 1 in the GCAC in men's basketball. All right. Women's basketball scores in the MEAC. Let's see how much time we got left here. We got about 3 minutes left. We can run down the women's scores before we get out of here, Kels. Bethune-Cookman defeats Delaware State 67-55. Maryland Eastern Shore beats up on Florida A&M 68-36. Norfolk State defeats Savannah State 78-42. North Carolina A&T, 62-29, defeating Morgan State. North Carolina Central defeats Coppin State 62-57, and South Carolina State defeats Howard 72-63. That North Carolina A&T Morgan State score, Kills. I mean, that was a beatdown as well as
a complete blowout. That wasn't even a game. That's like a first quarter. That's a complete blowout.
As well as a Savannah State loss to Morgan State and a FAMU loss to Maryland Eastern Shore. And let me get the women's honorees of the week in the MEAC. All right. First up, the player of the week is Taylor Brown out of South Carolina State. The rookie of the week is Raven Peoples out of North Carolina A&T. And we have 2 honorees and co-defensive player of the week. Number 1 is Danielle Goodhope out of Norfolk State. And Micaiah Wilson out of North Carolina A&T. Congratulations to these ladies as they try to lead their teams to a MEAC title in women's basketball. Now, we already talked about Morehouse's dominance. They were ranked number 3. We just want to run down the rest of the scores in the SEAC and then jump into the CIAA for a little bit before we get out of here. All right, just waiting for the page to load. All right, so this past weekend's games on Saturday, January 19th, Fort Valley State, of course, loses to Morehouse 62-57. Lane defeats Miles 68-60. Clark Atlanta falls to Albany State. Lamar Owen defeats Tuskegee, and Payne defeats Benedict. And that's all we have for men's basketball. Kels, go ahead and give our parting shots for tonight.
I want to again thank Robert Mathis for joining us. Really great interview. Super excited. Glad he did join us for the interview. And just tell us a little bit background. As you can hear, very humbled. And I always say he's really humbled by the Black college experience. He's one of those HBCU grads that completely goes back all the time to talk about his HBCU. He always pays homage to the HBCU that made him. So again, thank you to Robert Mathis for joining us. We will be here again next week. Same place, same time. We'll see y'all next week.
All right, we out of here. Peace out.
Good night.
Shutterstock Music. Shutterstock Music.